Back on the Owls Baseball Network, it'll be Elijah Henderson, Kendall McGowan, and Garrett Blaylock all due up in the Forest City side of the first inning. With the Owls and Mustangs just underway, Aaron Beasley had to throw 11 pitches to Kenny Bergman in order to get out of that first inning, but Beasley was nonetheless able to accomplish that, and he throws up a 0 against the Mustangs in the first inning. It'll be Henderson, McGowan, and Blaylock, as just mentioned, and Henderson steps into the box right now against Braden Ware. And Ware has struggled in limited time. We talked about that during our pregame show, but at the same time, Ware, a guy that has not started a game this season for the Mustangs, making appearance number 4 and start number 1. First pitch from him to Henderson is a strike on the outside corner. A 1 from Ware. Bounces in the dirt toward the catcher, Killeen, who it gets behind. A ball and a strike now on Henderson. Henderson batting .313 this season. He's peaked that batting average over 300, 4 homers, 11 runs batted in by Elijah. The 1-1 on the inside edge. A ball and 2 strikes. One, 2. Up and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Elijah Henderson. The Owls, when Henderson starts a ball game this season, have a pretty darn good record. That record coming into the night is 14-8. Henderson, the Owls' center fielder tonight, with Elwood getting the night off. Pitches outside. Henderson draws the count full, 3-2.
And we both spoke to Elijah Henderson just the other night, and I think we got a little bit of a better understanding why he contributes so much to the Owls' success. Even on an off day, he was all about baseball.
Ground ball left side, fielded by Reebok. He fields it from third base. The throw across is high, but fielded by Woosley at first base. And Henderson grounds out 5-3. Out number 1 for the Owls in the first. It brings up Kendall McGowan. Tonight we will have Zachary Taglieri in the press box for the Owls at the top of the third inning, whenever that rolls around. Soft grounder to the right side. McGowan may have broken his bat. It's fielded by Sadala at second base onto Woosley. A 4-3 put out. 2 outs on 2 ground outs for Braden Ware. And there are 2 down in the first with Garrett Blaylock coming up. Blaylock batting .305 this season, 9 homers, 26 runs batted in against Ware. Scoreless from McNair Field, bottom of the first inning.
You know, Mitch, I think we're reminded quite often by our owner, Phil Dangle, about how often it seems that Kendall McGowan breaks his bats. For a guy that swings as well as he does, I think it's just something that very commonly happens.
1-0 is just outside for a ball, 2-0. Yeah, I'm not sure if that one broke.
It sure sounded like it.
It certainly sounded like it. And typically, you grow accustomed to the noise that a broken bat indeed does make. Blaylock takes one outside for a ball, 3-0. Blaylock, a guy that gets on base quite a bit. He's riding a 5-game hit streak, but more impressively, a 12-game on-base streak for the Owls' third baseman. Here's a pop-up. Left side, this will track out of play. 3 balls, 1 strike. His longest this season in terms of getting on base, and this was to start the year, 17 games in terms of getting on base for Blaylock. May 30th until June 25th. 3-1. High and away, ball 4. He's going to get on base tonight with a 2-out walk in the first against Braden Ware, and it'll bring up Drew Donathan. Guy just knows how to get on, Blake. The batting average has gone down a little bit since the start of the season, but The on-base percentage has been incredibly impressive throughout the year by Garrett Blaylock, and he's a big reason why the Owls have had sustained success this season with that on-base percentage at .415 coming into the night. That just went up a bit. Swing and a miss on a healthy cut there from Donathan. No balls, one strike. Donathan homered a couple of days ago. A solo bomb against the Gastonia Grizzlies, a game the Owls were walked off in by a 7-6 final score in 10 innings 2 nights ago against the Grizzlies. 0-1, high. 1 ball, 1 strike on the Owls DH.
Well, and Blaylock, as we were just mentioning, he's a guy that went through a bit of a stretch about a week or so where he just wasn't seeing the ball well, but a guy like Blaylock, he's not going to change his approach. He's not going to be phased when he hits a bit of a downturn in his production. And he's even found a way during that week to contribute. And now that he's kind of out of that and on the upswing, you can see how much he can contribute to this offense.
Donathan hits one in the air toward right. Back on it, Cox. This one is going to be off the wall. Cox fields it at the base of the wall. Getting the wave around third is Garrett Blaylock. The throw toward the plate will be cut off. Blaylock scores, and the Owls take a 1-0 lead. Drew Donathan, a run-scoring double, coming a couple of feet away from a homer the opposite way. It falls a little bit short of that, but Donathan will take it, and he gives the Owls an early lead in the first.
Well, great to see Drew Donathan, who has been a very hot or cold hitter this year. We saw him hit 3 home runs against his former club in Gastonia, came back and homered on Monday night, ended up being pinch hit late in that game, but you can see that head coach Matt Reed loves putting him in a good spot when he's hot. A guy that typically bats 7th or 8th in the lineup, and they move him forward to the cleanup spot as a designated hitter, and that's exactly why. When he's hot, and he nearly went yard Monday night, had one that came up just short of the wall, and that one right there was no different, a well-hit baseball.
So the Owls up a run on the first inning double by Drew Donathan with Blaylock scoring. And that's what happens. You get a guy like Blaylock on base, although he's not the fastest in the world. He was off running on that contact from Donathan because there were 2 outs, and just like that, the Owls out to an early lead. This ball is flared foul by Lyle. A ball and 2 strikes now. Lyle batting .295. His batting average has been around .300 all season. Saw a midseason dip. The average went to around .260. But that was the bottom of the barrel for Lyle. He's gotten it back up near that .300 mark. Runner on second. 2 outs, 1-2. In the air towards center. In on it quickly, Schroeder. This one will drop in front of him. Around third comes Drew Donathan. The throw to the plate will be on the money, but late. Donathan scores. The Owls now up 2-0 as Jake Lyle comes through with RBI number 18. And Forest City up a pair in the first.
Well, again, this is what you love to see out of this Forest City team, that this entire rally gets started with 2 outs, starts with a walk from Garrett Blaylock, who you can rely to get you solid at bats. Drew Donathan continues it, and now the Owls in a good spot here. 2-out rally gives them a 2-run lead here in the first inning.
Matthew Lumsden now at the plate for the Owls. He takes a big swing and a miss. No balls, 1 strike on the Owls right fielder. Lyle now at first for the Owls with Lumsden up there. Still 2 outs. The Owls now up 2-0. Lumsden has greatly struggled of late. A batting average that has dipped all the way to .241. Outside to the Owls right fielder. A ball and a strike. This was a CPL All-Star who had a walk-off hit earlier in the season. He had a great track record in the first month. Was arguably the best hitter in the Owls lineup for parts of the season. This one is elevated. 2 balls and 1 strike from Weyer, who's had a couple of runs tagged to him in this first. Paul Salata, by the way, on deck for the Owls. We'll see if he can start getting things going again after struggling through a couple of games. He's back in the lineup for Matt Reed tonight. 2-1 is taken high and away by Lumsden, 3-1. The Owls looking to get win number 20 tonight. Overall on the season, Lumsden pops one up. This one will get behind home plate and foul. And it fills up on him, 3-2. For Lumsden on the season, 3 homers, 19 runs batted in. Huge lead for Lyle. He takes off. Here's a ball ripped toward the second baseman, Sadala. He drops the ball. Then he throws to first, but somehow beating the throw is Matthew Lumsden. Sadala had the ball in his mitt. He dropped it. Then he threw on to first because they needed to complete the putout. And somehow safe at first is Matthew Lumsden with the throw from Sadala, pulling the first baseman Woosley off the bag. Woosley has to then try to scramble back to get Matthew Lumsden. Lumsden thankfully was hustling. He winds up safe.
And that was a really strange play. I thought for sure that ball was caught on a line. You saw the second baseman running over, and honestly, that's the only reason he even got to the baseball was because of that steal attempt on 3-2. I thought he caught that ball. I think a lot of people did. But Lumsden kept running it out, and just a strange play there as the throw was errant to first base. And Lumsden gets in just a split second.
They didn't put an error on the scoreboard, but they also didn't put a hit, so I'm going to assume it's an E4 on that play. Lyle goes up to second. Big swing and a miss by Paul Salata out of pitch in the dirt, and it gets behind the catcher, Killeen. Both runners will move up, with Lyle now on third and Lumsden on second on the wild pitch, but Salata now down 1-2. Wild-looking play there.
Yeah, we'll have to give you...
Oh, no, they're going to give him a hit, Blake.
Okay, well, I was just about to say live stats hadn't updated, and as I'm saying that, indeed, it'll be Lumsden who reaches... Doesn't say with a single. Actually, yes, it does. It says Lumsden single to second base that advanced Jake Lyle, so...
It's a lot of swings and strikes out. But the Owls able to get 2 in this first inning, and it ends with Salata's K hacking. The Owls, all with 2 outs, score Garrett Blaylock and Drew Donathan. 2 runs for Forest City on 3 hits. No Martinsville errors, and the Owls left a pair on base. Through 1 full at the ball yard. To the second we go, 2-0 Forest City on the Owls Baseball Network.